Welcome to Inside the Music with Andy Schwartman. Here's your host, Andy Schwartman. Take it away, Andy.
Thank you, Matt. Welcome back, everybody. This is part 2 of Inside the Music with Andy Schwartman. I am your host, Andy Schwartman. Today's special guest is my buddy Matt, who I told you in part 1 I know from Everybody's Records, and he has a band called Patsy, and this is part 2 of our interview with him. Thank you for being on the show today, Matt.
Of course. Thanks again for having me.
You're welcome. Once again.
When we left off, Matt was in the middle of telling us about the history of the band Patsy and how all the guys in the band are into different things that they bring together to the Patsy sound.
Yep.
So that has been very beneficial in writing and everything like that, working everything out. As far as the writing went, a lot of the first album musically was written by Mike.
Okay.
I would have ideas. I remember, because I wasn't playing guitar at the time.
Okay.
I downloaded a keyboard app on my phone just to know the notes. So I would ding, 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 and tell Mike, like, no, okay, so it's C, F, and so on, like, and I'm kind of picturing that, and he would just run with it. I wrote several sets of lyrics to the same melody, and then Mike would write 3 different pieces of music. I should say I personally write better to music, so I just wrote lyrics to the same music over and over again, and then Mike would come up with a bunch of different music, and I would just rework those lyrics to fit those new songs and stuff like that. Which then, you know, hearing some live stuff played back to me, I realized, you know, how empty it is when Mike goes for a solo and there's nothing backing it. So I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna buy a guitar now. So which I went in, and a lot of my favorites, Eddie Vedder, Springsteen, guys like that play Telecasters. So I knew I wanted a Tele. So I walked in and I was like, you got any left-handed Teles? And they're like, yeah, we got one. And I was like, okay, I'll take it. And they're like, all right, well, I'll get it down and you can play it. And I was like, oh, I'm not a guitar player. And they all just kind of looked at me funny, and I walked out with my first Sunburst Tele, and then just started teaching myself chords, and then band practice would roll around, and Mike would show me what I was doing wrong and stuff like that. And I was able to fill the emptiness behind his incredible guitar work. I could kind of keep a rhythm going with Jeff. Just kind of play the same thing Jeff's playing on the bass, kind of be buried and hidden back there, but at least it wasn't so empty that way.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you said the same thing to like Jimi Hendrix or Kurt Cobain, they probably look at you the same way, like, what?
Probably, right?
Yeah. If they were still alive on this earth, that is. You know?
Yeah. Too many guns.
That's what I'm saying. If they were still alive on this planet, that's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
They were both lefties too, right, Andy?
Yeah.
27 Club too, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, I had to throw that in there. You know what I'm saying? I had to throw that in there.
There's also a theory that they all were found with white lighters as well. So I decided on my 27th year on this earth, I decided I'm going to debunk that theory as a left-handed musician at 27, and I carried nothing but a white lighter that year. And
that's awesome. That's awesome.
But which you know, after buying a guitar inevitably led to writing more and stuff like that. So I had a bunch of leftover stuff.
Nice. Second question is, okay. You just released your first solo album tell us how that came together.
The solo album, as seen here,
Nice,
it's
nice,
called
nice.
Nothing Important Happened. It came out Friday, the 25th of September this year.
Nice.
And that really came together as, as I was saying, just having a guitar and being able to write more and more.
Mhm.
And branching out. Patsy had a very unique sound. Not that this strays far from Patsy's stuff, but
Okay.
I inevitably had songs that just didn't really fit as Patsy songs.
Right.
The first of which was a song on Nothing Important Happened, called This Could Be It.
Okay.
I wrote that on an acoustic, and I personally couldn't see it fitting anywhere on either of the two Patsy albums, or, well, the first at the time. I don't think the second one had come out when I first started, but I was like, yeah, I could do that a few more times and call it an album. So again, being a drummer in punk bands for the longest time, I can play drums, and after singing and playing guitar and Patsy, I can do those two things. I can attempt those two things.
Yeah.
And as far as bass goes, bass can be very complex, but you can also get away with it being very simple and just finding the root notes of your guitar chords, and there's your bass note. So, I laid a simple bass line down. I bought a house and built a studio in the basement.
Nice.
And yeah, just kind of set up and started little by little. I'd run a metronome and put the drums down, and then the guitar, and then the bass, and then I would do the vocals, and then, okay, I'm gonna fumble through a lead guitar part here, and then maybe this could use some keyboards, so I would try to figure out a keyboard part to add, and just little odds and ends here and there until there was a song, and I did that 10 times and called it a record.
Nice. Okay. All right. That's awesome.
This was 4 years in the making.
Nice.
Every time I had what I thought would be an album, I found something I didn't like or overthought something, and, well, that doesn't fit. Maybe I only have one song, and then I would write one more. But that was, this is light years better than 4 of the other songs. So now those are junk. So now I got to rewrite 4 more until I finally came up with a solid, what I feel is a solid 10 songs that I felt comfortable releasing, and there it is.
Nice.
You make a couple of interesting points along the way there too, Matt, because I've found that I don't have a band right now, but in the past I've been involved with bands, and you can be really busy, working a lot, gigging a lot, recording, but you yourself as a songwriter will occasionally come up with something that's like, what the heck is that? That doesn't sound like my band at all. And you don't even take it to band practice.
Yeah.
Or maybe you do and it bounces right back. Like, no, it never belonged there in the first place.
And there's a few songs that started that way as well. And it went both ways. I think on the second Patsy album, there's a song called No Crying and a song called This Bridge Won't Burn. Both of those I had solo album in mind when I wrote them, but I could really hear Mike doing his extra guitar work that he did. There was a time in writing and practicing this for the second Patsy album that at one point at band practice, I turned to Mike and I was like, don't play anything that I'm playing. So he basically wrote a second guitar part for the entire record just as a way to, switch things up and keep it different and stuff like that, which was really cool. It was neat in the solo aspect of having 100% control of where it's going to go. But I also lost a lot of talent with guys like Mike and my dad, who are just much better guitar players and drummers than I am. But, kind of give and take. So there's, really great things about both of those things. And I've been very happy with the past couple records I've been a part of. So that's very good.
Yeah, both of Patsy's records, the first one and the second one, are both great. So you should be real proud of those.
I do appreciate that, Rick. Thank you so much.
And before we wrap up here, congratulations again on your first house, Matt.
Thank you.
And Andy, why don't you wrap up part 2
Okay.
and make sure everybody sticks around for part 3, right? Then we'll go deep.
Yes. Thank everybody. Thanks a lot for sticking around for part 2. Here comes part 3. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks
Matt.
for being with us, Matt. We appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here.